about soloing. I got a bunch of emails on how to jam, just basically just play along with any progression or a band, play with your buddies who have guitars and things like that. So I thought I'd do a kind of a basic funk progression, which is 1, 4, 5. Okay, but I'm adding some, an A13 for that 1, which is G, A, C sharp, F sharp, a leading chord, which is like an A9 with C sharp in the bass. So your bass line goes up to the 3rd of A. So that's C sharp octaves. G, B, E. That's going to lead us to our D9 chord. That's D octaves in the bass. F sharp, A, C, E. And I kind of break it up, and I'll show you that in a minute. To the E7 sharp 9. E octaves, G sharp, D, and G. And what I was doing here was I had a little bass groove which went like that. So I was just messing with the root, the low octave, the 5th, the E, and then the octave A. And going back down, so down to C, up to C sharp, like that, and leaving holes. Now that leads me to my next chord, the A9, C sharp in the bass. Now I go A, C sharp, A, down to this C sharp, leading to my D9. So now it's D octave in the bass, and I'm going to go A, D again, same idea. But this time I'm going to go to a E flat leading to E. And that's going to go back to the 1. You can do some, where you break it up. Sliding into that G6 shape, going down a half step and just sliding in. Alright, so that's the progression. But basically I went up here for the soloing part and did some comping chords. So we've got the A7, that's A, C sharp, E, D, going up to C sharp, G, B. To the D chord, I'm playing D, A, C, and then the E chord, you got E, B, D. But you could play different versions of that. If you wanted to play the C, the D like that, and then you can be a little bit more economical with it and play the E7 like that if you'd like. Alright, so there's options here, and that's what's so much fun about doing things like this. So, the first scale that's going to jump out at you and that most piano players learn at the very beginning is the minor pentatonic, or minor blues. Alright, so you kind of just come up with these little phrases, or just go up and down the scale. Something I like to do is kind of roll off of that blues note. So starting on a D, going up, back down to C, using those 3 notes, then crossing over and going to A, back up to C. So stuff like that, you mix it up. Or stuff like this, where you're sliding into the E from the E flat, going up to G, and then sliding back down to the D, like that. Now you do kind of patterns, which helps to get used to the scale. But that's just, that's all minor pentatonic stuff. The other thing you can do with minor pentatonic is add some of the harmony notes, you know, constant A's, because that's our root. I like doing that stuff too, a little bit higher maybe. So I'm going, always playing that A while I'm doing other notes. Alright? And that's kind of like an organ technique, you know, where they've got the constant note up top. But of course with an organ you're sustaining that note, so you don't have to keep hitting it. With a piano, you keep playing. So that's the minor pentatonic. Now the other one that'll work here is the major pentatonic. So that's A major, and that's A, B, C sharp, E, F sharp, A. So let's hear what that sounds like by itself. Okay, kind of bright, but still it's another flavor, another color. What happens when we mix the two together? We've got A, which is shared between both, right? The B, which is major, C minor, C sharp major, D minor, E flat minor blues, E is shared by both. Alright, now F sharp is major, the G is minor. So now right here you've got kind of like a jazz bebop thing happening. Which is real cool. And you know, you don't have to play it all in a row. I'm just showing you what the notes are and that it kind of sounds cool to do so. Alright, so that's mixing the two together. The other thing is, which we've kind of already covered, is the Mixolydian. So that's just A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, back to A. Alright, so we've already kind of covered those notes, but you just want to get used to, you know, the scales on their own before you kind of mix other notes. So now that's major, minor, mixing the two, making a bebop kind of hybrid, and then the Mixolydian. We can also use the Dorian mode as well. So we go A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. Want to be a little bit more selective with that. Like kind of mix that with the major, and you know, you just use it sparingly. So that's another scale that you can use. Now, what I like to do is have a little bit of interval in my playing. That means like kind of working off some of the scale degrees or the chord degrees. So root, third, fifth, but you play them in different combinations as you're playing. Right, that kind of adds a little bit more flavor. Very colorful sounding. So what I did there was I'm just outlining the chord. So I'm going E, A, C sharp, going up my Mixolydian, D, E, and then I'm tripping from the C to C sharp, then I'm going down the arpeggio, A, E, then I'm crossing over, playing E flat, D, and then tripping into the C sharp from the C, and stacking the A. So there's a riff. Using kind of a jazz phrase. You can mess around with that. I'm sure this sounds familiar. basically what you want to do with these scales is you want to visualize all of them, superimpose them on top of each other so you can go to any note that you see, which is a lot now. Now we've got all this, you know, basically you can almost run. Aside from that F, you don't want to hit that in the B flat, but you can lead with them. So pretty much all the notes will work if you do it right. You know, if I hang on one, then you're kind of playing out, which is another technique. That's an example of kind of taking it out a little bit, where you're playing with notes that aren't necessarily in the scale. You hang on them a little bit longer than you should. Alright, so that's a bunch of stuff to get you started. Now let me give you some riffs and ideas that I like to use, like this for instance, where you're playing that constant like we've discussed, but you're kind of going from that C sharp or the C. You can go and just run up all those chromatic notes and then back to that C sharp and down. You can do a lot with just that one little concept. You know, you play it up higher to give it some intensity in your solo. So right there I'm playing the high A along with all those notes. Here I was working off of the D, and I'm going E to F sharp, playing that lower A. Using octaves. You know, to do different things. I'm just playing random notes in the scales that I've taught you. Alright, so that's another kind of lick. Now one thing I like to do is like octave riffs. So you're going from one octave to the other. And I play this one a lot. Or, you know, different phrasing on it. But the idea is you play two notes, like a shell voicing here, and then you roll off some middle ones. Like that. So I'm playing E and C together. And then I'm rolling down A, F sharp to E. Like that. Now I'm going to go over here and change my wrist position and play the E flat and E flat A, but really quick. I'm going to bounce down to the D, A. So, like that. Now you have an option to finish it like we have been, where we're going up to that major, the the F sharp, no, C sharp, jeez. So you're going into the third there, or you can go, keep going. Now C to A, G. Now we set ourselves up again for the same riff. Alright, but what people like to do is they'll play something different on that second one, or change the phrasing slightly so it sounds different, you know. You know, right there I've come up with a totally different phrase than I had up here. This is starting differently. So there's another lick idea, but the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was the arpeggio. Forgot about, you know, working and expanding on that. So let's look at all the chords that are in the Mixolydian scale, right? Because that's the kind of the main scale we're working with. That's the one that has the most, you know, common notes. So we've got A chord, B minor chord, A7 chord, D chord, E minor chord. In in this case we've got a D or a F sharp, G, A. And now what you want to do is visualize those wherever you are soloing. There's the F minor, and combine them with other things. So to make a run here, we can go, oh, you also have the minors too. You know, for the for that sound. Okay, so let's see. I'm arpeggiating the D9 chord. So say you're starting on the 5th degree. You got A, C, crossover, E, F sharp, and now same thing. So what if you went to the A first? It sounds like a riff, but really I'm just outlining chords. So I went A, started on the 3rd degree. You want to start on, you know, something that's not, it's not going to make it as noticeable that what you're doing here. So I went C sharp, E, C sharp, A. I went D, B, G for my G chord, or A9 sound. I kind of went up from F to F sharp, A, C. Then I started my outlining of that chord, the D9. So I went. So that's my soloing lesson so far. I hope that helped you out. You know, leave a comment, let me know if there's anything else I can help out with. All right, have a good day.